Good morning. Welcome to this morning's service. Today is Eitaikyo. It is a service that assures the continuing recitation of sutras. We'll begin this morning's service with the reading of Sambujo, followed by Hyobyakumo and the reading of Sambutsuge. If you'll please join us in the reading of Sambutsuge. this occasion of the Eitaikyo service, the members of the San Jose Buddhist Church, Betsuin, have reverently come before Amida Buddha with deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida. We reaffirm the three homages. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Again, good morning. Welcome to this morning service. If you please join now in the reading of Golden Chain. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Today is Eitaikyo. It is a service that we conduct with the idea of continuing to be able to hear the sutras. So Eitaikyo means the perpetual chanting of sutras. And there is a practice that we follow here. It is a part of our opportunity for contributions to the temple, to financially support the temple so that the temple will be able to continue. And the Eitaikyo fund, the funds that are set aside during this Eitaikyo service, are for the things that would continue to allow us to hear the teachings of the Buddha. And we would think that, well, it's been around for a long time, so we won't have to worry about that. But then here at this temple, there are things that we need to do in order to be able to hear the teachings of the Buddha. So often this Eitaikyo, the funds that are in our Eitaikyo is set aside and used for things like repairing the onaijin, fixing the temple building itself, and things that would prevent us from hearing the teachings of the Buddha. So when we collect funds for Eitaikyo, these funds are used specifically for things that would allow us to continue to share the teachings of the Buddha. And we all want to be able to do that. And it's not just, of course, the funds that we raise that assures that. We also have to be able to hear the teachings of the Buddha. Just because we have a nice building and a beautiful onaijin like the one we have here at the Betsuin, it's not going to assure us to hear the teachings. We can maybe provide a beautiful space in which the teachings, the sutras can be chanted. But if we're simply chanting and nobody's listening, that's not going to work very well. It's both to be able to provide a place in which the sutras can be shared, transmitted, read, but also a place where we can hear the teachings of the Buddha, to think about, to talk about, to have discussions about the importance of the teachings of the Buddha. So this Eitaikyo service kind of helps us to remind us that we need to work towards providing a place in which we can hear the teachings of the Buddha. When Shakyamuni Buddha began teaching, sharing his understanding, there were beautiful temples and there were beautiful religious centers, but there weren't Buddhist centers. There weren't places that Shakyamuni Buddha could go to and share his understanding of what he had experienced. And so in the early days, and these are the days of Shakyamuni Buddha, they would gather in fields or they would gather in forests and talk about it. And so this platform that Shakyamuni Buddha would often use to speak from, I mean, it was just a place set aside that he could have people gather around and hear what he had to say. So how beautiful or how grand the structure is not as important as what's being shared. Our temple, in 100 years, we don't know what will happen to our temple. Hopefully, our temple, as beautiful again as it is, will be in a similar condition, and maybe it'll be much larger. Maybe we'll have people not just here in San Jose, but maybe we'll have people from all over the world coming to a wonderful place that is the San Jose Betsuin. But if people come to hear the sutras, that this Eitaikyo helps to continue. If they come and just hear the teachings of the Buddha, teachings of the Buddha being read, but are unable to think about and to share and to discover together the meaning of the teachings of the Buddha, I think it would be kind of a very sad, empty place. It doesn't matter how grand the place is that we hear the teachings of the Buddha. It is a place where we think about what the Buddha had to share with us, that we talk about with others the importance that the teachings of the Buddha has for us. When we participate in this Eitaikyo service, the perpetual chanting of sutras, it is to assure for us to think about what we can do to assure the continuation of the sharing of the Buddha Dharma. It is an important task, one that has been continued for 2,500 years, that has allowed the teachings of the Buddha to continue for so long. But just because it's been around for 2,500 years, it doesn't mean that we should neglect the importance of our temples. Does not mean that we should take for granted what we have, but through this Eitaikyo service, to remind ourselves of the importance of the space in which we are able to hear the teachings of the Buddha. So this Eitaikyo service, again, it is a service that assures the continued recitation of the sutras, the teachings of the Buddha. Thank you for participating in this morning service. For those of you who are able to, please continue and to join us for the 10:10 service. Mikame Sensei will be speaking at that service. And then next week, we have a special BWA memorial service during the 10:10 service time. It's a service that, memorial service for the members of the BWA who have passed away this past year, but it's also a service that remembers Eshinni, Shinan Shonin's wife, their daughter Kakushinni, and Lady Takeko Kujo. And so, although the service, the BWA memorial service, will be during the 10:10 service time, you're welcome to join us for that. During next week's Dharma school service, we'll speak a little bit about Eshinni and Kakushinni and their contributions, the important contributions to Jodo Shinshu. Again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for this morning's service. If you please join in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, everybody. Go to class. Bye-bye. Good morning. Welcome to this morning's Eitaikyo service. Eitaikyo is a service that is intended to assure the continued opportunity to hear the teachings of the Buddha. It literally means the perpetual chanting of sutras. It's not that we read sutras continuously during this time, but it is to assure that we can hear, that we have the opportunity to hear the teachings of the Buddha expressed through his sutras. So we'll begin this morning's Eitaikyo service. We'll start with the reading of Sambujo, followed by the Hyobyakumon, and then the reading of Sambutsuge. So if you'll please join us in the reading of Sambutsuge. Today, on this occasion of the Eitaikyo service, the members of the San Jose Buddhist Church Betsuin have reverently come before me, the Buddha, with deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida. We reaffirm the three homages. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance.
Okay, so let us read the golden, three treasures. Okay, so please join me in Gasho. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we live in it. Difficult is it to hear the teaching of the blessed one, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be free from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle or way to enlightenment, and awaken in ourselves our spring will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of our doctrine, and gain wisdom that's deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in the true accord in our way of harmony, in the spirit of universal brotherhood, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of nearest of kalpas, how hard is it to hear such an excellent and profound and wonderful doctrine? Now we are able to hear it and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Oops. Good morning, everyone. Ohayo gozaimasu. Okay, I hope you are doing well and stay safe. So I'd like to begin my Dharma talk with reading Wasan, written by our founder Shiran Shonin. Please join me in Gassho. Of those who encounter the power of primal vow, no one passes by in vain. They are filled with a treasure ocean of virtues. The defiled waters of their blind passion no separated. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, thank you very much. So this morning, this morning is a special service known as Eitaikyo service. So the word Eitaikyo is a contraction of the more formal term Eitaidokyo. A means eternal. It is composed with the Chinese characters for a river with many tributaries that flows on and on. Tai means generations, and Kyo means sutras or the words of Buddha. And then Etaidokyo and Doku means to read or chant. So that's the meaning of Eitaikyo is to eternally chant the sutra on behalf of our loved ones for generations and generations to come. So today is November 8th. Actually, today is really special for me. Why? Because it's my grandma's birthday. Yeah, she was supposed to turn to 89 years old if she was still alive. Although she passed away about 2 years ago, but I don't need to celebrate her birthday anymore. But I cannot help remembering her until now, and I feel like I still wanted to celebrate her birthday, even 2 years later later from her death. But fortunately, I can still feel a connection with her here and now. We are tightly connected with Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So I have heard that we human beings have 3 big birthdays in our lives. The first one is the birth as a human beings in this world. So everybody has a birthday, right? So second birth is the awake of oneself, when we realize the true meaning of our lives. Nothing changed on our life, but it's a big change in our perspectives. The third one is the birth into the Pure Land as a Buddha at the end of this world, at the end of this life. The second one and third one will be given through encountering the teaching of Nembutsu and accepting Amida's saving power in our heart. Although we don't know when the end of our lives will be, we are surely able to hear and now the Amida assures every living thing to be born into Pure Land at the end of our lives, because Amida never leaves behind everyone. Amida never leaves behind anyone. So Namo Amida Butsu, which we recite, is the right proof to make us recognize that Amida's virtue already reaches each of our lives, and we are now within this wisdom and compassion. So please kindly recite Nembutsu together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Yeah, that means Amida is now with us and embraces each of us. Embraces. So Nembutsu teaching is a teaching to realize our present happiness here and now. So it tells us our present happiness, when we hear it now. Since my grandmother lived with Nembutsu, so I'm sure she had already received the birth as Buddha from Amida at the end of her life, and she is now working hard everywhere in this world to guide us to the Buddhahood as a Buddha. So all we can do is to just appreciated in this life. Our ancestors have been sharing this teaching with their Dharma friends and rejoiced it in their lives. Because Dharma is transmitted through Sangha who shared the teaching with. They have been passing down it to us through their own lives. We are now fortunate that we are able to hear the same teaching to this day, thanks to their contributions. So sometimes temple members give me a chance to enhance my understanding of Buddhism. As you know, San Jose Buddhist Church Betsuin is located in one of the biggest Japantown in America. So therefore, the good thing is that I have many opportunity to learn the history of the internment camps through directly hearing the stories from some survivors during the time. So during the war times, war years, the compassionate attorney J.D. Packman took care of our church as most of Japanese and Japanese American people were interned. Following the release of Issei, first generation, and Nisei, second generation people from the various location camps, our Betsuin was served as a temporary housing facility for them. There are many. There are some church members who experienced camp life at that time. I was very impressive at the words from one of the dedicated members who had lived in our church. So before the pandemic, one Sunday morning, he came to me and happily told me that he always felt that at home when he visited the main hall of our church. He said that is because he was one of the returnees who had lived in the main hall of our temple at the time. So according to his story, taking the pews out from the main hall, not only the adults but also kids, everyone used to sleep in the main hall for a while, in front of the statue of Amida Buddha. So since he is one of the dedicated church members and he still comes to church to take care of the Japanese garden, so I felt very happy to hear that story. So I tried to imagine how people had felt under the difficult situation during the war times. So many of them must have experienced the sadness and feeling of despair coming from the prejudice or discrimination by others and being kicked out of their homes. Having so many difficulties, the place where not only where not only he but also many other people finally could feel secure must have been our church. At the time, as the place that everyone was accepted equally. I guess there is another reason why he feels so. I felt like that his word made me realize what our church should be like. In Sanskrit word, vihara generally means a type of Buddhist temple which usually has live-in quarters for monks or nuns, a meditation space and a place to feel peaceful and heal their sufferings. So many Buddhist temples in Japan in those days used to be considered as the public place where many people visit to learn something, as a school to heal their sufferings and wounds, as a hospital or a counseling place, and to hear the teaching of Buddhism for their true way of living as they are. As Shakyamuni Buddha told us about 2,600 years ago, we are living with many sufferings and anxieties in this world. We always try to hide our own weakness and anxieties from others, and show ourselves bigger than the real ourselves, oneself, by our words and behaviors. Even if times have changed and technology has been developed, the core problems problems our lives are maybe basically the same with that of 2,600 years ago. We're living our lives with our own sufferings. There is no one who will replace each of our lives. So we can say that we always try to look for someone who can share our feelings and sufferings together in this world. Our founder Shinran Shonin tells us that Pure Land is called place of peace in one of his main writing, Kyogyo Shinsho. So Shinran Shonin suggests us to live our lives with hearing the Pure Land teaching as our true home. What is home like for you? I can say that is somewhere we feel safe. We can show our weakness without any fear, and we can be accepted just as we are. But it doesn't always refer to certain places. But it can be a person who has a home feeling. We are fortunate that Amida Buddha wishes for us to be able to accept Pure Land and his wisdom and compassion as a firm place of peace in our lives, whenever we are in any situation in our lives. Not only in front of the statue of Amida Buddha at church, where we recite Nembutsu, we are always embraced by its wisdom and compassion. Amida always says to us, "Welcome home." So today, this is a special for a service for us to appreciate that Amida gives us the same Nembutsu and the same Pure Land as the same benefit and the same true home of our lives and the same peace of mind with every living thing. So I hope this teaching will be spread to more and more people, and temple and a church will remain being a place to be able to hear the true home for everyone from now on. Thank you for listening. So I'd like to conclude this Dhamma talk with a gasho. Please join me in gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. ありがとうございました。
Thank you, Sensei. It's always wonderful to hear her Dharma talks. We are very fortunate to have Mikame Sensei here at the Betsuin. Next week is a BWA. I'm sorry, kind of went blank there for a moment. BWA memorial service and the service that commemorates the life of Eshinni, Kakushinni, and Lady Takeko Kujo. And although it is a BWA memorial service, I hope you'll join us. It'll be in this time frame in the 10:10 service where we will observe that memorial service. Our guest speaker for that service will be Reverend Mikame. We had scheduled Reverend Wandra to come and speak for that service, but unfortunately she'll be unable to join us at that time. So we are fortunate to be able to have Mikame Sensei stand in her place and to share with us her appreciation of these of the BWA at the BWA memorial service, but also of these three women in Jodo Shinshu and the tremendous contributions that they have made, not just to Jodo Shinshu, not just to the Honganji, but in terms of uh, uh, the general community, how they have impacted the lives outside of the Jodo Shinshu community. So I hope you'll join us for that service next week. It will be in this 10:10 service time frame. If you will join us for again the BWA memorial service and Ishini Kakushini Leri Kujo service. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Please stay safe, stay warm. It's kind of gotten cold and a little brisky, but that rain, a little bit of rain that we had the other day was really very nice. Again, thank you so much for joining us this morning. As we close, will you please join in Gasho and then Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Thank you, everyone.